Hey, this is Marlon here. Been on a little bit of a break. These little medical breaks I have to take, unfortunately, it kills the momentum. And the older I get, the more I realize how important momentum is. It's like riding a bike. Faster you go, the easier it is to stay upright. I am about to edit or give a light rewrite to a script written by someone who will remain nameless for now. And we're just going to look at the opening scene, actually, not even that long. And consider we're not going to try to make it into a final masterpiece, but we are going to look at some areas where we can improve the experience, the impression. And again, when you're writing a screenplay, one of the most important things is the initial impression you make on the reader, because nobody wants to read anything, especially nowadays. People don't like to read. I myself, when I started reading scripts in Hollywood for several different production companies, but when you're like an intern, or when you're an intern, or you're just getting out of college, that's often one of the first jobs, or used to be anyway. Nowadays, they got people who get into those jobs and just stay there. I mean, they've always had people who stayed in those jobs, but nowadays there's quite a few people. But it's a good entry level type of position, because you learn or unglamorous parts of storytelling, because reading a script it's not fun, especially when most screenplays are like 120 pages for a 2-hour movie, 120 pages or less. You start off on page 1 and you're not feeling it, and you have 120, 119 more pages to go, and your boss is like expecting you to give a report. And it's just not. It's not a glamorous position. It was. After doing that for a little while, you realize why nobody likes to read or wants to read any kind of screenplay. Of course, today most people cheat. They use AI to read everything, and it can do it so fast. If I were a reader at this point and they had AI available. Because when I first started, it was like 94, 95, no AI. So you had to find a way to cheat and read. A couple pages here, a couple pages in the middle. You hope the person writing it is halfway decent, so that the right things are happening in the story at the right time. So you could go to page like 30 and hopefully the story has progressed to the second act or started the second act. But if people don't even do that, it was just a slog. And then I also read for a competition that was interesting too. But my point about reading is, screenplay reading scripts is supposed to be, it used to be, I should say, a technical document. So it's not really for pleasure, but now they reversed it. And the emphasis is more on the reader's pleasure, which is why, in my opinion, the movies themselves are not as good. Because imagine someone gave you a blueprint to build a building or a car. Because, a screenplay used to be a blueprint to make a movie. So if someone gives you a blueprint, it's not fun to look at. It's got technical directions on so the building that you make doesn't fall over, or the car you build is safe to drive. So it's a technical document. Or they could give you a beautiful fancy picture of this flashy car or this nice brand new building and say, here, engineers, we're going to give you this picture because it's more pleasing to look at. This artist's rendition. Instead of the blueprints, we're going to give you this pretty picture because it looks good. Now, here's the picture. It looks good. You feel you're pleased. Now go make the car or the building. And if they made a technical, like a car or a building from just an artist's picture, then there's no way in hell I'm going inside of that building or that car, because it's going to fall over. And that's kind of, it's an oversimplification, but that's kind of, in my opinion, what happens with most movies. Now, it's the screenplays are made to be a little too much like an artist's rendition rather than a technical document. It's like they're skipping a step. Some people will say, well, you have to make it pleasing in order to get past the gatekeepers, which is true, and that's unfortunate. But then there has to be another step where they go back into and make it a real technical document so that the house or the story that you build actually stands up. And that's kind of what's missing. And unfortunately, I think it's because the readers, nobody wants to read. In my opinion, I'm like, if you really don't like reading screenplays, and you probably don't, because it's not supposed to be that fun, then you should just go get a different job. It's, most people, especially that came along around my time, you did that job as an entry level. It was a grunt position. You did it, you learned, and while you were doing it, you figured out what you really wanted to do, right? So that you could move on to something else. It's not the type of position, anybody who stays in that position is probably going to become a bitter, and they're going to hate reading screenplays. But I guess I talked enough, because I'm going to play this, and it's going to, some of you put off by how unmovie like it sounds. Because I'm not an actor. I'm not going to read it like all dramatically, because a good actor can make it sound better. I'm just going to let the little final draft guy read it, and I like to use that as a tool when I edit stuff, because if sometimes a good actor can hide problems for you, but if you just let the digital voice read it, and it all sounds like crap, kind of, then, and if it's tolerable, then maybe it's okay. Like when an actor really does it, as opposed to an actor makes your lower quality work seem better than it actually is, and you don't take the time to really make it better. So there's a time and a place for everything, but in early stages, I like to just use the digital voice, let it read it, and later on, I like to see what actors will do with it, an actual human reader. But for this, I'm just gonna let it play, and we're gonna see what happens, and we're gonna see if we can fix this opening scene here.
Palo Alto horse track, day, super, Palo Alto, car 1878. The racetrack and stands are empty, except for two white men watch a racehorse jockeyed by a black man run toward 12 old-time box cameras set up along the track. Narrator, VO. The first moving picture, or movie, as they came to be known, was first discovered when former governor of California, Leland Stanford, solicited the services of English photographer Edward Muybridge to answer a burning question. Racehorse gallops in slow motion, muscles rippling, mane whipping, a glorious specimen of speed and power. Narrator. At any point in a horse's gallop, are all four hooves completely off the ground at the same time? A series of still cameras was set up, each rigged to snap a photo when the horse ran past. Flashbulbs pop sequentially as the horse runs past, triggering each camera. A hand flips through printed stills of the horse in rapid succession, creating illusion of motion. Insert public domain film clip. Moving horse. 1878. Narrator. VO. Upon viewing the still photographs in rapid succession, an illusion made it appear like the horse was running, and the motion picture was born. Horse galloping sound. Thunderous. Narrator. In all the years since that fateful day, one thing in motion picture history has remained true. Galloping sound. Fades to the sweet roar of V8 engine. Freeze frame. Running horse photo. Match cut. Running horse photo. Ford Mustang running horse emblem. Narrator. VO. No moving image is more majestic than a stallion in full gallop. Beat. Run. Wild horse. Run.
You can check out this episode in its entirety at StoryRay.com. It is free. All you have to do is become a free subscriber. It is free to subscribe. Go to StoryRay.com and you can watch the exciting conclusion of this episode. Hope to see you there.
All screenplay material is the property of StoryRay LLC. Unauthorized use or reproduction is prohibited.